I would like to invite the founder and CEO of Aarav Solutions Private Limited, Mr. Raj Darji, to deliver the associate guest address on powering a secure digital future on the cloud. And we are going to spend our next sort of 12 to 15 minutes listening to more about it in depth. So over to you, Mr. Darji.
Thank you, Piali. Thanks for giving us the time to share our thoughts about the digital transformation journey on the cloud and how cloud is accelerating the digital transformation journey. So let me share my screen so everybody can see. Let me know when you see my screen. All right. So I think, before me, many people have talked about the cloud technology and how the infrastructure is being used and what are the challenges and what are the benefits of having the cloud technology and the digital transformation. I'll give a little more to it and try to walk you guys through that. What are the things which can really need in terms of acceleration of the journey of digital transformation with the cloud technology. All right. So I know there is a short of time, so I'll try to kind of summarize whatever best I can do from myself to kind of make people understand what we're talking in terms of digital transformation here. So majority of the things many of our other colleagues have talked about the security and how this cloud transformation should happen, how the cloud infrastructure should be used. Those are the things we talked, and top challenges what we have seen as part of the digital transformation, in particular to IT ecosystem and the IT infrastructure, is more into the top 6 challenges. What we have seen is the scalability. What has happened is when we talk about the scalability is we might have seen, right, in a traditional world we had those the infrastructure was set up on premises and we need to kind of add up the server and I mean all the different type of things we need to do for the on premises. Now having those cloud technology and the cloud infrastructure that can give a kind of scalability in terms of going up and down when we have a more load into the system or we have more data into the system. So that is one of the scalability. I'm going to go more in depth when we talk about the cloud infrastructure or cloud technology, but on a high level, it's like a scalability. Security is another aspect where many of the organizations are facing, and we might have seen many organizations where the breaches are happening and the compliance is required from the cybersecurity perspective are not currently being put in place for the organization for mid-level to kind of high-level companies. So that is another aspect. Then agility is something where we wanted to see that the turnaround time, the procurement things, this should not take that much time, where in traditional world it takes really good amount of time, right? And affordability, this is more for the people who are small to mid-level or like kind of startup, where we don't afford, because when we started our organization we had those challenges where when we wanted to procure things, then it was very difficult for us to do it because we need to have the servers and all those stuff. But now having those cloud things, it's very easy for us to kind of have those servers available in like click of the second. Then reliability, the cloud infrastructure is kind of globally available, and that's where like the reliability and these are the very important components which can be very helpful, and the globalization. So these are the 6 challenges which we have seen from the on-prem and for the organization to put themselves into the IT infrastructure side. Now, how does this digital transformation means in the past of COVID, post of COVID era? So we all experience in last, I would say almost like 2 years, everybody face the challenges where how how this whole ecosystem of remote working, or how those server accessibility and all those things will takes place. And during the COVID, many of the mid-size, small size, or the large size of an organization, they have set up their infrastructure into the cloud, so that people will have that availability for them to access. Just to give an example, lot of people, lot of companies have set up their VDIs, like virtual desktop, onto the cloud. So you don't really need to carry the laptop, or you don't need to really carry the client system into along with you. So it's just like, go to the browser, and you will see your desktop right there. So that kind of flexibility has been given by this transforming the business, or the transforming the operations into the cloud, and transforming that into a digital way to access those data, or access those information, right? So there is no limit on onto the large scale of company. It can be done for the small, large, medium, any size of the companies which can implement those things with the cost effectiveness, and many other factors. Now, the most important thing which we have seen into the cloud is two things, I would say. One is the IT infrastructure, where we are moving our cloud, or moving our hardware, or whatever we call it, into the cloud, and have those servers scale up, scale down. That is like more from the hardware perspective, right? That it will be available any point of time, any region, anywhere you are there into the world. But apart from that, there is another aspect to it, is having availability of the uh, infrastructure as an environment. So when I say infrastructure as an environment, is right now, even into the traditional business, whenever you want to install something, like you want to develop some cool algorithm for the AI, ML, deep learning, machine learning, all those stuff, what you need to do is you need to have something to be installed. But now the cloud technology is so advanced that you can just go ahead and create your own demanded, or create your own instance within the system, which can provide an environment to write those algorithm, write those machine learning code, and have those product out to you, with a very no time. So this is another aspect where we were able to kind of take advantage of the cloud. Similarly, many other things, like all the emerging technologies where we have a blockchain, big data, cloud, those things are very much adaptive in terms of having those information available immediately anywhere in the world, right? Now, another aspect to is like yet staying focused and the connected, and having this cloud technology and the cloud era, or I would say cloud infrastructure, it is very well connecting us. As I said, like the VDI in example, we are able to connect even somebody is sitting in the village, but he still be able to access the system of the customer. So that's a beauty of having those cloud technology and cloud services available to the end user. Now, as I said, like now people are, it is so much agile that now people are, it's easy to adopt, and over the period of time, those platforms are very much evolving in technologies, and that has changed the perception of the people, because a lot of companies, especially I'm talking about the US, many of the companies have changed their model, where the maximum business will go to like offshore, right? So earlier there was a requirement that we need to have certain people to be at on-site and will be working from there. But having this service available, and having this environment available, this platform available, it has made people to work anywhere. So basically, the person can work from the village where the internet connectivity is there. Person can work from even city, anywhere. So with that, lot of companies have cut down their operational cost by moving their business from on-site to offshore. So those are the real factor, and with that, a lot of company got benefited out of it. So this is a great thing from that perspective. Now there are, as I said in the beginning, there are two aspects to it. One is the cloud infrastructure, and another is application. One of my other speaker have talked about, Mr. Vijay Nehra. He talked about that in old days we used to write like a COBOL programming and all those stuff, right? But now with having this cloud, see, we need to understand one thing very clearly, is like moving my application into cloud is not going to help the way it should have been helping in terms of the real use of cloud. When we talk about the cloud, when we call about like the scale up, scale down, all. But at the same time, with the infrastructure, you need to make your application also a cloud native, because when you make application cloud native, what does that mean? That means that your application itself is capable enough to scale up by having into the Docker and many of the cool stuff which we have from CI/CD pipeline, and those are the things, right, which can help our application to scale up by itself when there is a more load, more user comes in. Because right now, lot of, just an example of the startup, right, where we have right now I have a 5 user. Tomorrow I may have 1,000 users. After I will have like 100,000 users. So at that point, if my application is so cloud native and it is into the cloud, you don't really need to worry about like what's going to happen. My application is capable enough to handle that kind of load, and that is what is kind of differentiating the cloud technology and cloud infrastructure from the traditional way of doing it. I mean, my servers are on premises and I'm just putting into the cloud. That may not help much. So this aspect we need to be very we should be very strategize it in a way when we are trying to and talking about the cloud stuff. Okay. Now, over the period of time, we have seen that cloud technology has been very much it has a very good acceptance even before COVID, and post COVID it was like went way up, because we have seen a lot of benefit out of it. And these are the some numbers which we have derived from some of the sites, that 29% CAGR is being kind of pushing up, and that is mainly and predominantly because of the having availability of cloud technology with the cloud infrastructure, and of course the scalability and the security. Now, how cloud technology is become accelerated in the digital transformation. So there are many things like strategic adoption with the cloud first approach. So everybody's when we wanted to develop something or we wanted to put something, so from strategically, first thing we talk about is like cloud should be the first. Then at the same time, we need to make sure that agility with the modernization is another aspect where we will move rapidly and launch our application. So basically go to market timeline has to be come down, because earlier when we wanted to launch new product or add new things into it, we had a lot of challenges in terms of having those hardware and the things. But now with this, it's like quick go to market strategy. And of course the cloud native environment and the implementation which we have talked about, and continuous improvement and the innovation. So that's where my CI/CD things will help really, and integrated with the DevOps and the AIOps. This is the main thing which we talked about, that now we are getting into the emerging technology and many things are being developed. So it is time for us to think from the AIOps perspective beyond like DevOps, just not limited having the application more sync with like application by application, but have those more into the artificial intelligence way, that it can automatically decide what operation is to be performed and have the corrective measure to it. Then there are many other things like migration and stability, security and compliance, and people roles and upskilling. So these are the aspect where having those emerging technology can really help to kind of minimize the the human intervention and minimize the human error. And that is certainly help when certain things should flow in certain way. So it is having those cutting edge technology with the cloud. It's definitely going to help for any company or an individual to perform their jobs. Now, fueling the engine. So some of the things at Aarav Solutions we have performed as part of our innovation, or I would say center of excellence team, where some of the things we kind of, with this cloud infrastructure and cloud technology, we were able to maintain, or we were able to achieve that 100 million plus transaction less than 4 hours. When I say 100 million transaction plus is something what? So that is something which is kind of when we have a lot of usage. If I talk about the example of telecommunication, if I talk about the Airtel, then they may have a lot of transactions or a lot of usage coming. So that's where the cloud technology will help a lot in terms of processing those transactions. And if I convert those into the revenue, certain things we have implemented as some of the customers as well, where the monthly revenue is more than 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. That is something it's been managed within the time frame. Otherwise, like having this many transactions, we always need to bring more and more hardware to it, and that is where it's going to be very, very difficult. And with all those things, the way we at Aarav Solutions are building it does, like, we are bringing up the skill gap in the industry with future ready consultants. So how we call it is all our people. See, now the technology is going into the cloud. Technology is building up the more cloud friendly things. Now, if our people who are coming out of college, if they don't have those understanding, if they don't have those details, then it's going to be really difficult for them to cope up with the market. And that's where we are kind of bringing that bridge between the individual employees, or between the individual person who is coming out of college and be the market, right? So this is the phenomenal which we are setting it up as Aarav Solutions, as our Adaptix labs, to see that how we can learn the technology. What are the technologies going to help in a real life, right? So how technology is being used to solve the business problem, bring the learners and the expert under one roof. So basically what we are going to do is we're going to bring the industry expert, the technologist with the students, and try to bridge the gap and make sure that they understand what are the real world problems and how they can solve it. So this kind of help, like, to set up the mindset and the processes to solve the problem by having those advanced learning. Because right now we all talk about machine learning, AI, deep learning, and all those things. But when the people who are coming out of college, we don't want to be like burden to them, like bombarding all the technology. And that's where this bridge can definitely help them to kind of set up the ground for them to take those challenges and solve the problem which we have into the business side. I think I'm over 1 minute. I'm just noting this down. But cloud technology and adoption and the implementation is like playing a balance act. So what we need to really make sure, and that's what I said in the beginning also and the middle also, that only migrating applications, it's not going to help. We need to adopt those technologies in a way that it can really help in terms of scaling up and scaling down, having right security, and whatever the challenges we talked about in the beginning. Those are the things going to happen only when we kind of put those into the balancing act, rather than just pushing one thing and drilling down another thing. That's pretty much from my side.